My name is Kathy Roberts. I am the Tidy Tutor. Welcome to this video. I just want to do a really short introduction because the video that you're about to watch was done in 2016. I did an interview with Vonnie Dasher because she decided to challenge the status quo and make a plan to go from a home where she stayed put and was the matriarch of her family to a mobile home with her husband Robert when they decided that it was time to retire. Now, lo and behold, they have absolutely executed that plan and it's happening. So, since I'll be interviewing her, I thought that this would be great to just resurrect this video. And so it's all brand new, all fresh. And so when the next one comes out, it'll be a bada boom, bada bang. Okay? I hope you like the video. I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you're watching this on YouTube, then subscribe, click the bell, and then that'll let you know that another video that I've done has come up. Okay, let me know what you think. Bye. Hi, I'm Kathy Roberts. I'm the Tidy Tutor, and I'm sitting here with Vonnie. Hi, Vonnie.
Hi.
And I came and I visited Vonnie. She's one of my people, one of my Tidy Tutor peeps.
Woohoo!
And she has a really fascinating story, I think. You want to tell it a little bit? Or you want me to start it and then you jump in?
Start.
When I first met Vonnie, she was like a little frantic because she was moving. She signed up for my course. Tidy Tutor University. She was moving. Your daughter was starting a restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Now, she put her house on the market, but actually it never went on the market because the moment that she was going to put it on the market, your realtor actually said, "We want this house. This is our dream house." And so suddenly you were faced with, "Oh no, we're moving now." So they had to look for a place. They wanted something small. So, and also there was a lot of stuff that they were getting rid of, and this is why. They chose to have an RV lifestyle. Her and her husband wanted to retire, and you said would be in about 3 years,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
In about 3 years that they would be ready to hit the road. And since they were selling their home, they were going to get rid of everything that they didn't need, love, or want anymore, or that would actually be compatible to a lifestyle on the road. So you were very overwhelmed. She was very overwhelmed with, she had something that you called a room of disgrace. Is that what you called it?
Yeah, shame.
The room of shame. That's right, the room of
Yeah.
shame that you posted in our private Facebook group. Here is
Right.
my room of shame. And you had a lot of stuff to get rid of, garage sales and just to get rid of in general.
Right.
And so now what we're going to do in a minute, I'm going to let you fill in the blanks because I'm sure
Okay.
I left some
that's
things
good.
out.
Yeah.
What we're going to do in a minute is we're going to walk around the house that they did rent, which is much bigger
Oh.
than she actually wanted to get. Now, it just happened that way, and I think it's beautiful that you didn't completely like take this plan that obviously was divine
Yes.
and just say, no, it's not what we want, it's not what we want. It worked out beautifully, and what we're going to do when we walk around is I'm going to show you how she's able to have filled this house with furniture and living a beautiful life without actually owning much of any of it at
Or
all.
keeping.
So that she
Yeah.
doesn't have to feel like now we have to do it again. They don't have to do it again, and I'll show you that in a minute, but right now I'm going to ask Vonnie to just fill in some of the blanks.
Okay, we had decided in order to live a better quality in retirement and to do the traveling that we wouldn't be able to keep a home. So, of course, our home, we had to get it ready to be on the market. So we worked for a number of years to do those repairs and get it ready. That was part one. And I really wanted to rent something half of the size of this house because that was all I needed. But because we had an emergency where the people who were buying the house were having to leave their house quickly, they came in on top of us, and it was like, we gotta go. Their furniture was coming in, we had to take ours out, and so a year ago, right now, had our first yard sale. We sorted, like Kathy said, we had the room of shame with just crud to the ceilings, boxes and boxes and things that had no organization. And there were actually 2 rooms like that I didn't know where anything was. I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find an important paper. I couldn't find a cherished thing that was from my mother. I couldn't find anything that I know I have that, but it's in that room that's piled. And that's when I started Tidy Tutor, and I started that task of moving forward and changing my life. So here we are, and what we did was last October we had the yard sale, the first yard sale, in which we sold 30% of all of our belongings at that time. We took the little bit that was left, we put it in the garage. We went through it again this spring, and in May we had the second yard sale, which we sold 50% of those belongings that were left. And I resolved that even though they were good things and wonderful quality things, that what was left from that yard sale went on a trailer and went to be donated. And I said to my husband, do it. And he put it on the trailer, and the next morning it was gone. And it was very hard because that's not who I am. I am a must keep this for tomorrow, for my imaginary life.
That's what we were talking about. Much of what we do is a bit for the imaginary life. Like, we'll get a home that has a big dining room because we're going to have all of these people over for this imaginary life that never actually happens. That's just one example of the
Right.
imaginary life.
And in your sorting process, in your de-junking process, that should absolutely not be allowed, that you save things for your imaginary life of how, oh, well, one day your grandchildren will have a week sleepover and you will need 4 bedrooms in your house for that one day that will happen in your imaginary life. That never happens. And so when you're asking yourself these questions as you're going through your rooms and your de-junking, ask yourself, is this for real? Or is this imaginary scene that you're playing over and over in your head of something that will happen, that you will live in this way, you will cook in this way, you will have all these china, and you will do all these things that never will happen.
Never actually happened.
Never
And
happened.
we were talking about a few minutes ago when we were walking through the RV, and we'll show you that too.
That my husband and I are now secretly saying to one another, we could go smaller.
It could go smaller, and we were saying that it is freeing, because now not only do you have more freedom with less stuff and with less space even, because
Yes.
you don't need it, but also you have more choices. There's more choices in life now
Right.
because of that.
Right.
Our choices are limited based on all of our possessions and what we have.
All of our possessions and what we think the world tells us that we
We
should
need.
have, or that we are having these things for someone else,
Yeah.
for some other person who's going to visit us, and we're going to, in our imaginary thoughts, going to show them our pottery. See our pottery?
Mm-hmm.
Practice. You even practice your imaginary life. It's true. Even when Kathy was coming, I would say, Kathy, and this bathroom is for you. And this is, in my imaginary life, Kathy will have this towel. You shouldn't do that. You need to live today. Yeah, you need to plan for the future and that kind of thing, but remember, you only need the things you need for yourself and your loved ones who live with you. You don't need to have it to impress anyone.
And this wasn't something that you always, like, this wasn't your view your whole life.
Never.
This was something that you
never.
have, right,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I bought into it. I bought into the view of what society says you should have or achieve or whatever. I had it all. I had it all. And then I just one day said, I'm not buying into it anymore. What I really want to do is go get in and travel and go see the national parks, and also the thoughts that you don't need so much later in life in retirement. You need to have all these possessions in retirement because they could hold you back from dreams. They could hold back you you could spend your money and your retirement money on traveling and beautiful experiences and doing, and instead of having a crystal ball, or,
Right.
you know, and sitting there looking at a crystal ball and saying, well, I can't go there because I need to have this house for my crystal ball.
Right. Isn't funny, right? Now let me ask you, if you don't mind, how old are you?
I'm 59.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Vonnie's 59, you have 3 children, she has grandchildren. So I want to ask you, because I'm 55 and I have children and I have grandchildren.
Yes.
And I recently sold my house, and even just things like decorating, when I started to do that in the mode that I'm in now, different, not the mommy anymore, just the mother.
Yes.
I knew that, wait, something's changed. I've changed, but nothing else in my life has. So how is it for you, being the mother and the grandmother, and having, like, was there a process for you when you had to make the decision to sell your house and to do things differently and not to have what we all believe that grandmothers and mothers have?
Yeah. You do have to let yourself possess your life. You do have responsibility to your family to some sort, but I think that I was carrying responsibility that I didn't need to carry, and I could turn into retirement and say, it's the time in my life, what do I want now? So again, you possess these things for your what you're going to do with your imaginary life when your children all come over and your grandchildren all need this and these possessions, lots of possessions, and you have to ask yourself the hard question. Really? Is that really going to happen? No.
Right.
No, it's not. They occasionally might come and they're just as happy to sleep on an air mattress on the floor. They're just as happy to sit in your couple of little kitchen chairs. You don't need everything that society says grandma should have when you go there. Yeah,
because your whole life this is what I've found anyway, my whole life that say is 365 days this year shouldn't be all only equated to those like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 days or something that stretched out throughout the year. And most of those, I feel like what was going in my head was about holidays.
It was holidays.
Like I was thinking about, well, what about Thanksgiving and what about Christmas? And you want to know what I figured out? We didn't talk about this.
No.
I figured out, because I moved to a very small apartment, and now I even downsized more than that. And I don't know what I'm going to do past that, but I know it's never going to be what would really accommodate my family for a great big family thing. And I figured out that by living within my means, I can rent a beautiful cabin for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And we can all drive a 40-minute drive to go to this cabin where it maybe it'll cost me $300 or something.
Yes.
But when you calculate how much I would have spent on that great big house or that great big apartment and all of that stuff that goes along with it, that $300 is a drop in the bucket, and you have your holiday that you want. This is the thing. There's always a solution. We have to think outside the box to just say, well, how do I want to live? It's a very strange concept for especially women in general and mothers.
I even started for 2 years, told the children, I'm not making that big holiday meal. Get dressed up. We are renting a beautiful dining room at this exquisite Italian restaurant, and we even had my family plus their friends, and we had a Christmas Eve big dinner, and we walked away. And we wrote a check, and at that time, you're thinking, well, I didn't have to live in this big house and cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to maintain this big house, to go there and have this exquisite meal for this holiday.
Right. Yeah.
I think Robert's coming in.
Robert's her darling husband. Oh my God, you can't believe what an
My
amazing
husband
man
is
he
out doing yard work. We're doing
a video.
We're doing a video.
Oh my God. I asked him, does he have a brother? And he does, but he's already taken.
Okay. So, do you want to walk and show them some
Yeah.
of that?
All right, so here we are now in Vonnie's house, and we're going to walk around, and she's going to tell us what she told me when I first went in. And I said, but Vonnie, I thought you were like getting rid of all your stuff, so now you have to do it again. And she said, no, I'm not. I don't. This is what I'm doing, right? So now you could show me. I'm going to turn this around.
And she was so surprised that this whole house was full of stuff. But in actuality, almost really 90% of the furnishings have already been spoken for my children or borrowed. And so these are in the foyer. These is just some old pieces that I've had that were given to me. I got this mirror at a yard sale for $5, but my son has already spoken for it. So I didn't have to sell it. This was given to me. I picked up on the side of the road. This belongs to a friend. So these are my baby beds because I watch babies during the day. They were all given to me, and they'll all be given away later. Again, this is my son's rug. I took it in, had it cleaned. Chairs from the side of the road that we painted. This was about the only thing that we kept from my original was this dining room table, but the kids said they would keep it.
And that's going to them.
They're already been spoken for my children. I just went through and asked, what do you want? And
that big painting was from...
Oh, the painting was hanging in my sister's garage. It had belonged to her husband's first wife, and she said, please, take it with you.
So now that's just going to go when you're done.
That's just going to go.
Now, what about your collection, your Disney collection? I know that you said that at first it was difficult for you. She's in love with Disney.
Right.
And these are her beautiful Lennox, and she just kept what she loved, and you sold them in a garage sale with all the boxes, all the authenticity,
Correct.
Everything.
I sold... vast majority. I sold about 70% of them, and these pieces are what was left, and they're spoken for my family. They'll go to my grandchildren and my
and we'll talk a little bit later about, because you were telling me how very difficult and emotional it was to begin the dejunking process. Neither one of us are saying this is easy.
At all, because you ask yourself so many questions. You, again, consider your imaginary life in the question asking processes, and then you have to face reality. You have to face the reality that this is trash or this won't serve me in my life going forward.
And it doesn't mean what I gave it the meaning of.
Correct.
It isn't a person. It isn't something that can love me back. It takes some time for those things to actually become things to us in this process.
Correct. And that you can pass them on for someone else to use them.
To love and use, yes.
Yeah, and they're delighted to have them anyway,
Yeah.
But not that having a nice home, there's nothing wrong with having a nice home.
No.
But just right now, in this time of my life, I'm moving out of that. I'm moving out of that phase, that season of my life, where I can go into this. So really we're going on into here, and that's my son's patio furniture, and we are using it as our sofa.
Love it.
This rug came from an estate, and I had it cleaned. It's going on to my children. This rocking chair belongs to my daughter-in-law. So everyone just came together with things to fill up this house.
And I love what you did here in the kitchen. It was too dark for her. She wasn't crazy about the wood, so Vonnie asked her husband to take the doors off, and it opened it up for her, and it made it more like you.
Lighter.
And also, this is something else, that you have these beautiful pieces of pottery because you like them and you live here.
Yes.
And it was a friend's, right? It was a friend's?
These were yard sale, but these pieces from this particular pottery, I had over 50 pieces, and these were the 2 pieces that I kept. I sold or gave to my children because I knew I'm moving on in this phase. I'm moving to a smaller thing, and I found, you know what? I am not going to be tied down in my life carrying around 50 pieces of pottery around my neck.
Right.
So I have one. It's beautiful. I love it. I'll use it. I can take it with me as I move forward.
And in the meantime, you're still enjoying your things. There's
Right.
nothing. It's not.
Right.
It's not saying I'm not going to enjoy my life. I'm not going to enjoy my things. And you're not going to live in a home that is decorated beautifully because you're only going to be here a short time because
Right.
this is your life right now.
Right. And also, I've come to see that we are tending to have excessive possessions. Maybe you don't need 50 pieces of pottery or 70 pieces of Disney Linux.
Right, right, right.
But you can have a few and they're still just as beautiful and you can enjoy them just as much.
And it gives you a little bit more freedom and less
Right.
restriction.
Right. Exactly.
And also,
Exactly.
even if it is something that you really do love, do you really want to spend all of that time dusting those things or paying someone to dust those things
To
and
clean
maintain them?
them,
Yeah.
to clean them. And even to take it further, question yourself in your purchases. Yes, this is beautiful. Why am I purchasing this? Why am I purchasing an excessive amount of collectibles? Is it for you or is it for something you're going to show to an imaginary person in your new imaginary life?
Right.
So why do you have it? You know, why are you going to spend the money on it?
Right, right,
Would you rather spend the money on experiences?
Right.
You know, joyful, fun things instead of possessions.
Yeah. It's just a new way of looking at things, really.
I'm just as happy with my son's patio furniture.
Right.
It's still the same life. It's still
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
life. And so when you're moving forward, you can get yard sale items. You can borrow. You know, you don't have to all the time have
Keeping up with the Joneses.
keeping
kind of
up with
life.
the Joneses, having what the world is telling
Right.
you that you should have. You're good. You're great. You're great, just the way you are. You don't have to have it.
That must have been a really wonderful moment for you when
It
you
is.
realized that.
I'm great. And what do I want to do now? What do I want to do now that, hey, I don't have to be what they say I should be. I don't need to have what they say I should have. But what do I want to do? I want to go across the country and see the national parks. I don't want to spend all my time working to make money and
So that I
to
could have these
money.
things.
To have things. Yeah.
So let's go
Yeah.
into the room that you set up for me to stay in.
Okay.
It's lovely. It's really lovely.
This was
It's
a bedroom
lovely.
set that was left from my original house that we sold, and it's already been spoken for my granddaughters. But I did keep, again, it doesn't mean that you have to get rid of cherished things. This was my grandmother's. Embroidered Bible story.
I
book.
love it.
And I'm keeping it. And I'm taking it in my RV with me. And it doesn't take up much space, and it's special. Not that I'm going to take this whole bedroom set full of things, but I'm going to take this.
Right.
I'm going to take this.
You're
There's
Sebastian.
room. I'm going to take the Sebastian and the Cinderella glass slipper. I'm going to take what I have room for that's really special.
To you, right.
special
And this
to me.
bedroom set was your daughter's.
It was my daughter's.
And so it's going to go on to her daughter.
to go on to her daughter, yeah.
But if it wasn't, you would donate it.
I would donate it or put it in for sale. We have a little website called Trash and Treasure, and people really enjoy picking up things like this for their children.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's
really
beautiful.
special.
It really is
Yeah.
a beautiful
It's
thing.
all antique. It's all antique.
It's
pieces.
lovely. I love it. If I lived close by and your daughter didn't want it, I would have picked it up in a second.
This dresser actually was the first piece of furniture I bought when I got married to my first husband 40 years ago at the Salvation Army, and it cost $19.
How awesome is that?
And we kept it and we painted it for my daughter, and she grew up with it, and she's now 39, so it'll go to her kids. So,
Beautiful.
yeah. And in the rooms that I did stuff full of the things that I couldn't make decisions about, and that had just every kind of category of sorting that was needing to be done. And it took me from August until October to do those rooms and to put my hands on every piece of everything and see what was an important paper, what was a photo, what was a collectible, what was any kind of category of thing that you would stuff in rooms and not try to think of. I got through all that. We got through our sales, and now I have 3 categories left, and that is photos. And I ended up with 9 boxes of photos, which now I'm going to make decisions about and condense down into 3 albums that will fit out in the RV. I also have clothing, which dates back to the 1980s, and I never threw anything away. So that's a huge thing. But now that I'm ready, now that I've gone forward, and now that I've taken the course and I put the principles into play, it's not emotional anymore. It's not emotional to ask myself, am I good enough to have up-to-date clothing? Am I good enough not to wear hand-me-downs from my daughter from high school? Am I good enough to just throw this away?
All right, Vonnie, one more thing. I know that you've mentioned some things to me about talking to other women and how you're noticing things that you never really noticed before about other women having these issues too.
Right. Like, you wouldn't have even known that when I'm saying I was having these problems with too much clutter, not just clutter as a small word, but rooms of disorganization, rooms of stuff, and not being able to find things and upsetting me. Other women are saying the same thing. They're saying, oh my gosh, my children have all these clothes and I'm spending 4 hours trying to go through their clothes, and it's overwhelming me. I'm upset, I'm depressed, and I've been able to really share with them the principles of the course and how it can be so freeing once you get a handle on it. And most of it is excess, and that's what I try to tell them. Maybe your children are, have too much excess, and it's taking away your free time and their free time and the time that you spend together. But really noticing that they're saying to me, I'm losing it. I'm losing it with all that I have, that all the balls in the air and that I'm juggling. And I never knew that they were, feeling this after, people that I've known for years. And so we don't share that we're really under stress. And so when I started saying, well, I'm just going to be honest, and I have junk and I have these things, and because of the course, I can reclaim my life. They're going, I just wish I could. I just wish I could feel that way. I just wish I could own my time. And so it's really been great. It's really been great to help them. Yeah.
What happened for Vonnie did not happen on accident. She needed help. She searched the internet. She found me, just like you did. And she took a shot on me, and she took a shot on herself, and she enrolled in Tidy Tutor University. And you see what the outcome was. Her whole life is moving in a new direction. If you want to get control over your days and over your life, if you want to feel like you're at the wheel and not your stuff, if you have been putting off so many things and you wish to God you could get to them, the first thing you've got to do is get it together at home. My name is Kathy Roberts, and I am the Tidy Tutor. I hope that you will take a shot on me and on yourself. Click on that link, get started today, and I'm there for you right as soon as you sign up.